Well, welcome. Tonight, we're meeting with a group of people that we always hope never to think of. Yeah, because the only time we ever think of this group is when it's less than happy times. So, we do appreciate all the work you do, but let's start with introductions.
I am Rudy Lioce III, Sewer Commissioner.
John Mainini, Director of Operations.
And I'm Tom Morelli, Sewer Commissioner.
I mean, it's got to be, you're like IT people. As long as everything's working, nobody thinks of you.
That's a good thing.
That's good.
Yeah, it's always great to find out what's new and exciting.
We didn't run for this for the fame.
But it's always great when we say, no, everything's going along. So that's kind of good news for us.
Everything is going fairly smooth right now, knock on wood.
What's the biggest project going on right now, Rudy?
Right now, the biggest project that we have currently in the process is we have a screw pump that we're in the process of hopefully going to be replacing, an RBC shaft that broke down the plant that we're replacing. Coming down the pipe is that sludge thickening equipment and facility that we're planning on constructing hopefully within a year or two. So right now, that's currently what's going on.
Well, I mean, the whole idea of thickening, why do I want to thicken my sludge?
We want to take the water out of it.
Correct.
Why do I want to take the water out of the sludge? It's being trucked away, it goes away, right?
It goes away for a significant cost right now, and as I think John can explain better, we'll be able to hopefully save some money over the long term by taking the water out of the sludge and trucking less water and more solids.
So, but now, John, we're at what, 3% solids?
Right now, about 3% solids, and we're going to try and get it to 6% solids. And when you get this, taking out the solids, it's more for your money, obviously, but also we're getting the sludge out of the system, and that's what your byproduct of your wastewater is your sludge. So if you get it out of there and you take less of them, less loads. Right now, we're pumping like 3 to 4, we're pumping 4 loads 3 to 4 days a week. And if we get that, we can cut it back down to probably like 2 days a week or something to that nature. And it's like $350,000 to $400,000 a year to haul it away. So if we can cut those loads down and get it down to a quarter of what it is, it would be good.
And obviously, they charge you by the gallon.
Yeah.
So we can, the more solids we pack in, the fewer gallons
Right.
we have to give them.
Right.
Right.
But there's what, like a 7% limit, or
Yeah.
why can't we make it real thick?
You could make it real thick, but then they charge you extra when it gets to a certain thick because it's harder for them to move it out of their trucks and process it themselves. So there's a fine line that you have to get in between you. So they usually take it between 2 and 6%.
So you're going to pay a fixed fee per gallon between 2 and 6?
Yeah.
So we're going to try and drive it to 5.99% or...
Yeah, get it to 6. Some of the loads will, half will be, 5.5 or 6. So the average,
Well, the volume,
it averages out. So
the volumes you guys talk about, these are not small loads.
they're 9,000 gallons each truck.
So it's like one of those big gasoline tanker trucks.
Yeah,
Correct.
correct. Yeah, big
All
stainless
full of
steel.
poop water.
Yeah,
4 times a week.
yeah, 4 times a week, 4 loads a day.
So it's 16 of those trucks rolling to get rid of all the sludge water,
All the solids.
all the solids.
Yeah,
Yeah. We used to bury it behind the plant. That's no longer allowed, has been for a while.
Bury it behind the plant.
Well,
it's a landfill.
Like a
it was a
landfill.
landfill.
So you
It
just
was-
you were
it
doing
was a
like a
mine
dump, a
land-
landfill. You
Mine
just-
landfill. It was a mine
Just
landfill.
put it in a truck.
And the effluent used to come back to us and stuff, so. But that,
But now what happens with that land? Is it usable or?
It's been capped. It's like an old landfill. They capped it, planted grass. We have to maintain it.
Do they put like a barrier like we did down at the old dump?
same
or?
thing, yeah.
Yeah, it
Yep.
was done before I was on the board, but
Yeah.
that's the way I understand it.
It won't decay, will it? Or
I'm sure something will happen in there.
There's vents, just like the dump has vents for the.
So it is
met-
decaying.
But it does decay. It's methane, but it decays a lot slower than trash.
well, I would
stuff.
imagine you already kind of
Right, it's
removed
already-
a lot of the water
yeah.
and the
Mhm.
moisture.
It's almost like a fill that's going
Right.
in there. It's like a dirt. It's not a trash that's going in there.
Right.
So why don't they let you just keep filling the land?
The state more or less closed all the towns that had their landfills. They closed them all, and almost everyone does the same thing. They haul it away to the Synagro, is one company that does it, and Upper Blackstone is another. They do it themselves. It's such a big plant.
But was it like metal leaching, or what was the logic why they don't want you to just dry it out in the backyard?
It's the state, they just didn't want, they wanted all the landfills, everyone was pushing on the trash landfills to be closed, they were pushing on our landfills also to be closed. So they're closing them both
How big
down.
of a landfill did we create? I mean, is this a room size?
So it's,
I think it's over
pretty
over
decent
12
size.
acres, but it's
tall.
probably, I want to say probably like 80 feet from the bottom to the top. It's a hill out there, it's a nice hill out
a
there
hill.
now.
80 feet?
Yeah, because it went down to below the water table, and then it was lined and lined.
12 acres, we can get a soccer field out of that.
Not on this hill, you
Don't
can't.
kick the ball over the edge, you'll be running for it a long time.
It's
It's
great
a
in the
pretty good
winter.
steep hill and stuff on that, but it's,
Is there ever any use for it? I mean, do you ever project 20, 40 years it'll settle enough that we can do something with it, or?
Make a good solar farm. If there was, the trees were out of the way, it would be a great place to put them.
Yeah.
yeah, it's hard for the solar because of the trees in the back, but also it's a line landfill, and you don't want to
Yeah, you can't really do anything with it.
hurt the lining and stuff, because we only got like about a foot of loom on top of that, and then the liner on it. So
So if you really did put any
Yeah,
stress
yeah.
on it, you could pop the
They
liner.
probably wouldn't allow it either.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, probably not where you'd want your kids
No.
playing, or
No,
always
Yeah,
worried
the-
about the dump anyway.
when you do anything with that, to go through the state regulations to get anything use out of the product, because we had a couple farmers actually come to us. They wanted to put their cows on top of it when they first seen the landfill and stuff, and I had asked the state. State said that all the to get the permitting of that would probably take you about 5 years just to get the permitting, just to let the cows go up there and eat the grass and stuff like that. So it's like,
we cut the grass, it would be a great idea to get the cows to eat it, because they
I was
spend a
gonna
lot
say,
of
wait a
time
minute, I
cutting
mean,
grass on
do you have to cut it, do you have to
Oh, yeah.
maintain it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
oh yeah.
yep.
We just bought a new mower, so we spent some money on one that
Yeah,
was
it's a
about
good
30 years
sized
old.
area.
We couldn't get permits for goats and just let them run?
Nope.
So it's just always gonna be kind of a dead area in your mind?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's not growing anymore because you're not doing anything with it?
no,
No.
no, ship it away.
Now, you ship this off to Blackstone,
Actually, this goes. Our Synagro
Woonsocket.
goes to Woonsocket.
okay? It goes to Woonsocket. What do they do, burn it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. They take it and incinerate it. And so they'll take like that truckload will end up being like a wheelbarrow full when they're done. They dry it out first, then burn it up, and ends up being like a wheelbarrow full.
So they're thickening it even further?
Yeah. They're taking it and they put it through a belt press, which will dry it out, and then they put through ovens and heat it up and burn it, get it burning. Once it gets burning, there's enough paper in it that it burns itself up.
So this isn't just organic. This is toilet paper and everything that everybody
Yeah.
flushes down
Right.
the toity?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Everything you can imagine. is in there.
Everything you can imagine, do I
Well,
dare
whatever
ask?
goes down that sewer is coming out there, and we're drying it out and sending it out. You know, anything that gets spoons, all types of metals, everything.
Yeah, we use a pack of polyaluminum chloride, and it has aluminum in it. So that one of the metals that we add to do the phosphorus removal and everything else. So it's a coagulant that grabs the solids and brings it all down. But that when they take it and burn that paper off, now you end up with the aluminum. So that's one concern. So they make sure that they monitor all those sludges and everything that you give there to it.
But then let me ask a silly question. You spend a lot of money, we'll talk about, oxidizing nitrites. Why would I care if I'm just gonna burn the poop anyway?
But the solids get removed, but the ammonias and the
It's in the water.
BODs is in the water itself.
Oh, okay, so the ammonium
Right.
will
One of the-
dissolve
one
in
of
the
Right.
water.
The first
you'll have
process.
dissolve.
The NH4 plus will stay in the water, and
Right.
that's what you gotta remove.
That's what you got to remove, that and the phosphorus.
The solids are the first to be removed when it reaches the plant. They take that out, so that's the first process. After that, the water travels through the plant, does all their different cycles.
And each growth, the bug and bacteria is in it. So first one we call it trickling filters, where the water gets sprayed over rocks that are about 8 feet deep, 8 feet deep. And all you're doing is aerating it, and that bacteria will come alive. The good bacteria actually eats the bacteria, bad bacteria, but you have a growth that comes off of that, and that's part of the sludge that you have. Then the next stage, we settle it out, and then we raise the pH up, and then put it into the RBCs. And the RBCs do the same thing, except for it's a big plastic disc, and the water trickles down through, it gets aerated, but now with the right pH, you have nitrifiers that start become alive instead of the biological, the BOD. And so what that does, takes the nitrite, turns it to nitrate, and you remove the ammonia through the gas. But you also have some frothing off of that, and that's some more sludge that you have being built. So that's those sludges get brought.
Now, if you're removing ammonia gas, where do you vent it?
Just it's inside a building actually, and when you go in there, it's got like a musty
smell.
musty smell more than anything.
So it's
Yeah.
not very high concentration.
No.
No. In that one building with there's 24 discs, there's a million square feet of contact area in those discs.
It's a lot of surface area.
Yeah. And that's what it is. That's what those bugs and bacteria goes on those. And there's different stages. The first one will have the heavier one, then the second stage, and the third, fourth, and the sixth stage is really light. And you do weigh them. We did weigh them when they first started up and everything. So the biological disc itself weighed about 9 tons. When you put it with the growth on it, it ended up being like 12 tons. So you have like 3 tons of growth that actually grows onto it.
Of biological matter.
Right. Yeah.
They're pretty big. They're pretty big discs.
Yeah.
I was going to say, pretty strong motors to turn those discs.
Yeah, gears.
That's why the shafts snap eventually over time.
It was a problem we had with the gearboxes when we first started out. We changed all 24 gearboxes in the place at a cost of like about $10,000 for each gearbox, and that's us doing the work ourselves. Just the gearbox itself, we do
Wow.
most of the work in-house. And the shafts have broken. We've done, I think, 16 shafts now. And they first started out; those were about $30,000. Their last one we purchased was $58,000.
So, yeah, 50 something.
And it does involve a lot of work. It takes like about a week to take it apart piece by piece. The guys do it, and we put on pallets, move it all around the building, and then take the shaft, what if it broke off.
So what do you assign people you don't like? I mean, there's a gear shaft in the middle of poop, and it has to be taken apart.
There's 24 of them.
We do, when we do it, we usually use every guy is from,
Yeah.
Non-denominational, yeah, I mean, everybody has to do it.
everyone's in doing it. It's
Yeah.
it's a big project. It takes like, we get it down to the science, we can take it apart like about 3 days. Take it all off and part and fix it up. Or say if it's snapped, we'll get underneath it, raise it up, weld it back up so we can roll it out. And then we'll take when the new one comes, we'll take that one there, we'll raise it up, put on these steel beams, roll it over to these, like a railroad tracks that we make. We'll roll it on top of that, drop it down on that, and then we'll push it out by hand, push the new one in by hand, and then roll it back out and then put it together.
But
Then
these are
it'll take
9,000 pounds.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And they're in a pit.
And
They're in a
pit.
trough.
So it's,
But I'm just trying to imagine, even with, like an E. coli doubling rate, which is, hours, it's pretty quick.
yeah.
To build up 3 ton, 8,000 pounds.
A lot of bullshit turning.
I was gonna say, I mean, there's a lot of
Yeah.
bacteria there.
Yep.
To bring out 3 tons, that's 6,600 pounds of E. coli. Holy moly,
That's it.
that's a lot of bugs.
Yep.
Yeah.
But the good thing is, as the department employees do it, there's a huge cost savings to the town by us doing all the work in-house. Generally, we're saving $5,000 to almost $20,000 every time we do that job,
Probably
correct?
save more than that.
Yeah, so I mean, we're saving a significant amount of money by
Probably save about
doing
$30,000 to $40,000.
You take the
Doing
man
the work
hours that are in
ourselves,
there.
right.
and if
Bring
you're
a
paying
company
out-
in. Bring a company into it would cost you $30,000, $40,000.
Well, yeah, I can't imagine you call, Ray up at the Getty.
Yeah.
And say, hey, Ray, the drive shaft broke. Can you come down? The first thing he's gonna say, what's it in? Poop. I mean, right there's gotta be a premium tacked on.
Our department does quite a bit of work in-house, where a lot of other departments will sub stuff out to certain vendors and contractors, where our guys between RBCs, the screw pumps, other than hiring a crane, the pump station work, there's a significant amount of work that these guys do that saves the town a significant amount of money.
I mean, there must be some kind of training you gotta put the guys through when you think of, in a lab, we have to practice universal precautions. Because when you get in, biological fluids, you don't know what the donors, were carrying. You have no clue. You got 28,000 people donating.
Yeah.
Everybody's donating part of their biological matter down the stream. Where do these guys get trained?
Well, basically, when the guy gets hired down there, we'll send him to school, and they'll do like 2 courses of like about 10 weeks of courses each, so like 20 weeks of courses. And then we train ourselves. All of us have been trained through the years. There's quite a few of us have been down there for quite a few years now, and we, stress safety as a big.
But John, is it mechanical safety or biological?
Both.
Okay.
It's both. It's both. You come in contact with it. A lot of the guys are like they're smokers and stuff, and the first thing I tell them is you can't smoke when you work with this stuff.
Can you think of methane?
Well, it's not the methane. It's more the germs that you're.
Oh, you're sucking it.
Right.
Oh,
Contact.
I hadn't even thought about that. Yeah, I'm sitting there.
When they did the reconstruction of the trickling filters are out there, all the laborers, it was a construction company came in, all the laborers were out there, and they were all smoking. I said, you guys shouldn't be smoking, you're gonna be sick. And they said, oh, don't worry about it. Well, the next week they were all out
Yeah,
sick. It's like.
Airborne.
Right.
Everything goes aerated. You're aerating with 1 million square feet of surface
And
area.
the airborne isn't bad, but when you get in contact with it, then you
I'm
put
saying
it
if it's
close.
airborne, the minute
Yeah.
start sucking it in.
But you put your lips,
Yeah,
you put your
gotta
hands on your lips.
Hand on the cigarette, it's burning down the cigarette, it's getting there.
For once, the cigarette may be a good thing. It's burning. It gives you, it's kind of like flaming in a lab.
Yeah, but there's all kinds of safety that we try
What
to
is the
stress.
biggest safety issues the employees face?
Entering manholes and stuff, we have all kinds of, we make them all wear, if they're gonna go into it, to wear an air device so that you can have hydrogen sulfide and you can have no oxygen, so that it measures methane, so that the meter does the 3 measurements.
So oxygen deprivation is an issue.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what's built up.
Yep. Lack of oxygen, and also hydrogen sulfide could be a problem. Hydrogen sulfide is a non-odorous
So
toxin.
you have to use some kind of chemical detector for that, 'cause you're not going to.
Yeah, right, you have to use the meter. They all go in with the meter onto them.
I mean, methane I can tell,
Yeah, yeah.
but what you're talking about, if I don't
Yeah.
have some type of
No
meter-
oxygen you can't tell, and hydrogen sulfide you can't tell. It's and
So-
they do all kinds of courses, and we have we renew our license, we have to have credit, educational credit and stuff, and so we make sure that they take all
I
those
remember when
courses.
Rudy was first elected, we said we send Rudy down there.
I gotta retire that suit, it's not working anymore.
If he makes it up, then you can send other people.
Time for a new one.
But how do you send down like,
There's a meter, you drop the meter down.
drop the meter down like a test canary?
Yeah.
Read
In
it.
the old days, that's what they actually used to use in the.
The canaries.
Canaries.
It's same in the coal mines.
Right.
You put them down there and
Yeah.
it's still chirping.
Yeah.
Okay, Rudy, go.
It's safe to go.
It's a,
Yeah.
what happens if the readings come high? You just blow air in there and
Then
blow
we
it out?
we have a blower, you can blow the air in and
Just exchange to a gas exchange?
open other manholes on the either end of the system and get the air in there, get the hydrogen sulfide out of the air in.
Are you worried about collapse? I mean, I would think that some of these old manholes, they've got to
Actually, when
be.
you look at the structure of those old manholes, they're better than the newer ones.
Really?
When they built them to last, and they have. Some of our sewer system is 1906, 1902 is our original sewer system. So, it's over 100 years old. 112.
See, now back then I could see them ignoring our part of town. But now you should remember us. I mean, you go within 2 streets and then, okay, you've seen the sewer, but you're not going any further.
Yeah.
Once you're in the manhole, are there particular dangers you have to worry about, or?
Not really, just getting wet and covered and stuff like that there. It's not
Maybe traffic would be
Right.
the only other thing.
Well, you're inside,
Somebody
you're
crashes into
inside, you're
Yeah,
all
but I'm
set.
talking
It's the
about-
guy that's up above, that's the way.
Worry about the traffic.
it. Well, coming out, whatever.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
Now, in the plant, I mean, I would think, when you're talking about screw pumps, I remember you weren't talking 2 or 3 foot long screw pumps.
No.
You know, those screws were what, 28 feet or
52 feet.
52 feet?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, I mean, there's got to be some mechanical danger just knowing how to work around equipment that big.
It's a pretty big cylinder, so those guys, again, need to have mechanical and safety caution around those. But they're fairly secure. It's not like they're going to fall over and hit you.
Yeah, 9,000 pounds is going to move on
You know,
its own.
they're supported by three races, really, a bearing
Yeah.
on the top,
Yeah.
bearing
I
on the
don't know how
bottom, and a
much the
center.
pumps weigh, but they've got to be up there.
Yeah, they're more than the.
Yeah.
They're going to be more than that.
Yeah.
So.
Now, you talk about stuff coming down. You know, not to sound gross, but yes, poop. We're expecting poop and urine to flow down.
Yep.
But, you know, I'm always amazed when you say other stuff. You got to go through a toilet, right?
For the
How-
most part,
Sometimes you wonder.
You'd
some-
be
this-
surprised.
hockey jerseys, towels.
Wait a minute. How can you flush? You got a curved pipe. You know, when John Crapper designed it to keep the odors from coming up,
Yeah.
didn't he build in that curvature so that you were limited as to what?
They make it.
I don't
Can
know
you get
how
a
they do
hockey
it.
jersey down a toilet?
They've
They
done
do.
it.
There's not just one, I've seen. many.
Towels, you know,
Many.
full-size towels.
But I mean, come on, seriously. Is
I
that
would've-
going through like somebody throwing it down the sewer, or can't be going through toilets, can
Well, I
it?
don't think that somebody's lifting up the manhole and throwing it in. It's got to be coming in through
Somewhere it's coming
somewhere,
in.
Yeah.
either a way of a sink or a toilet.
Yeah.
Probably more a toilet.
So it's not like the runoff, you know, when you see the grills on the road.
No,
No.
it's a separate system.
Separate system.
That's the drains system.
Yeah.
A lot
that's
of
what I'm
people
thinking.
get that confused, you know, when they talk about, you know, well, you're tying it into the drain. No, it's the stormwater drain, not the sewer drain, not a sewer. I mean, a sewer drain, a lot of people call a stormwater drain a sewer drain. I mean, over the years, that's what it was, but they're really a sewer manhole is a separate system than the stormwater.
The sewer system is more or less sealed. No?
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I mean, when I think
So to
of the
speak.
stormwater, that's open so that the water runs down the
Correct.
street and
right.
Yeah, you try and seal it, because if you don't seal it, the water, when you have rain and everything, that's one thing that we did for I&I work, was we went around and sealed every manhole with a wrapper hole, we call it a wrapper hole, but it's a
like a gasket.
top piece of rope and a gasket, and it's put it on there and it seals it from the water going.
because otherwise you're just trying to treat clean water.
Right.
Not clean, but
It's clear water that we
Clear
don't-
water.
that doesn't need to be treated, and
It's
that was
groundwater.
where the last few years when we had a big push, a big push about the I&I. That was why
now
we
when
had
you say I
instituted
and I,
inflow and infiltration. That's why we started that sump pump program. A lot of chemical grouting, relining of pipes, replacement of pipes. Because, you know, like John said, some of the older part of the sewer systems are 100 years old. These are clay pipes that have cracked over the years, roots have infiltrated, just normal, you know, shift and movement of the ground has cracked these pipes, and you get groundwater that's coming in, and it's treating. We have to treat water that we don't need to treat, and it's costing us money that we don't need to spend. So
No, you're not treating it, getting it there and having overflows, that's
that was a big thing.
a big concern that we're.
Sewer system's designed for a certain amount of flow from the houses. Now, when you add in groundwater coming in there, that it's not designed for, it just waterlogs it.
like Field Pond.
Yeah,
Yes,
I mean, I remember that used to be the big one during the rainstorms.
still is.
yeah.
Now, when we talk about Milford, how much water, what's the flow ranges that you're running?
The average flow usually around 3.5 million gallons. With heavy flow and rain, like a week of rain and rainy season, and wet season, we've gone as high as 12 million gallons a day. But this past
12 million?
yeah,
I mean, that's a hell of a rate, pardon my French, to go from
Yep.
3.5 to 12.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
What happens when you get an 11, 12 million gallon day?
Usually you're having
not
an
good.
overflow somewhere.
Where do it go? I mean, I hate to, but it's got to go somewhere,
The
right?
overflow's usually out of a manhole somewhere or something like that. But I think we haven't had any in the last 3 years, 2 years. We've had a couple, but
I mean, I remember hearing, the poor people who would have their basement toilets
yeah.
kind of back up and go downstairs.
And a lot of that is some pumps that we honestly believe, and I certainly do, that that's our main culprit. There are some areas that we've been fixing that leak in through either the manhole or lines, or service connections are another one where people are connected to it, but mostly people pumping with a sump pump that's in water in the cellar that they're pumping into either a sink in the basement or a direct line into it, or even a lot of people take the clean out off in their cellar. I've seen it in numerous houses. They back off the clean out, it's under the floor, it's in stone, and the water will go out that way. So instead of the water rising up into the cellar, it goes out that way. Now, that system is well and good till there's a backup in the street, and then it comes back in reverse, and that's not good.
So that's where people were having problems with their
Well,
toilets
no,
in their
that's
basements?
No, not necessarily.
Some of them were, but
Some.
not. Those people that had that problem in that areas, different areas where it was, they wouldn't take their caps off too often because once was enough. They would learn their lessons. to do
Yeah,
that, but
you would imagine, but
Yeah.
there were people who had toilets.
That's right. And again, when your sewer line is designed for a certain amount of flow and it's overloaded and it's backing up the street where it's uphill and the pressure is pushing, now the low person going down, his toilet may be up, but the pressure of the water is
The back
pushing back.
pressure alone is enough
Yes.
to drive it.
Correct.
Path of least resistance.
So we know there's some areas in town where we've had problem. They do a great job of flushing those lines many times a year, so there's nothing blocking our lines. They have a.
So you're not getting any plaque buildup or,
Well, no,
grease buildup is most of our
he has a
problem.
very tough schedule there. They hit certain spots that they know they have problems, especially where restaurants or something may contribute a little bit of grease here and there, and they flush them out.
Don't they have to have grease traps?
Yeah.
But some
Some places do, some places don't. Then they have the grease traps, they have to maintain them, and that's another hard part, is keeping the people to maintain them.
Okay, so you can't inspect their grease traps and say it's working at 50% or?
Right. It's up to them to start, maintaining it. But your hope is that they have the problem with the backup, so now they know to.
So they'll fix it because they don't want everything backing up on themselves.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. There's like Tom was saying, we have bad spots. There's like about 6, 8 roads that we do once a month, and like we'll do them next week. We do them always before a holiday to make sure that we don't have to have a problem during the holiday for anyone to have.
Well,
the
what can
problem.
you do?
We go out and clean those certain lines. We go out and flush them out with high pressure cleaner we have, and we clean those lines and maintain
Is
them.
it clogging or is it grease
Well,
or?
it closes down. It's like an
it's-
artery closing down with cholesterol.
Right, it's a plaque
So it's
buildup in your
getting
arteries.
caught in some spots, and it just keeps getting smaller and smaller. Then when you get cold weather, the grease gets a little thicker, and then obviously closes down the line, and then
It's a mixture of a bunch of different scenarios in different spots. A lot of places have the restaurants. There's a couple of places that have like we do on down at the 495 pump station, which has all the Burger Kings, McDonald's, and all those restaurants down there. So that's a lot of grease problem down there. So we go that and do that before every holiday, like once a month. Anyways, before every holiday also. And then there's other spots where the flow will be going this way, and one comes in directly to it and stops it and slows it down enough that it does build up on it. So we go and clean those sitting areas that have that problem.
Is there any way of monitoring it so that you go back to the people who are causing the issue saying, hey, boys and girls?
It gets,
Unfortunately,
It's
it's
not
not
me.
that simple.
Oh,
it's not me.
It's not that easy, unfortunately.
because I was going to say, a lot of, on like the EPA regs, you'll get inspectors and they'll go monitor your outflow.
Yeah.
they were having the problems with the disposable wipes. Those were a problem for a while. I think they were going to a couple of places
Yeah.
asking them about them, and I believe one place had a problem with their own place, and I think they stopped using them. So those were causing havoc. So,
Yeah.
So now you talk about general maintenance. I mean, one of the things people love is, what was the increase last year?
0.
And what was it this year?
Again, 0.
we've had 6 years without an increase.
You know, but legitimately, people who are considering, you know, what's the long-term implications, it's great that for 6 years you haven't raised my rate.
Correct.
We all know that expenses go up 2 to 3% a year just with inflation. So what are you not doing to save that 18%? I mean,
It's not that we're not doing anything. We've had many projects that have come off the books and the debt has gone down on one end. So we've been able to stabilize our maintenance program and actually institute a few new programs, such as like what we did with the sump pumps, and shuffle some of the budget around to do those things. So we've been able to maintain and/or do better with our monies without having to go up because of the debt that has come down. You know, the money that we had received from Hopkinton a few years back, that's in a account generating interest right now that the treasurer and the town accountant, those guys have, and we appropriated at town meeting for that money to get some interest on. So stuff like that, we're going to use some of that money, I think, at some point when we do our sludge thickening facility. But we've been able to maintain and if not increase the services without having to increase our rates.
And I think we've been dropping money into our excess account where we've been gaining in our, stabilization. So we have money put aside if we, like our project that's coming up with the sludge thickener, we're gonna be able to go to town meeting and ask to take that money out to use to spend that rather than having to borrow it. Again, it's like having a house, you got a few things wrong with it and you don't fix them, after a while you're gonna have a lot of things in a big bill. So we try to stay on top of it. We've been replacing a screw pump a year. We budget money for the RBC shafts because we know that. So we've been trying to keep on track with that.
and I think that's probably the biggest concern is people don't want to see, a massive increase in 3 or 4 years.
Well, the other thing that we did is a few years back, we had our engineering firm do a comprehensive wastewater management study for us to see what areas of the plant and the infrastructure are going to need attention sooner than the others, and we've kind of prioritized where we want to spend our money. And again, one of the things was a sludge thickening facility. We have pump stations that we have to do work on. Obviously, there's going to be constant pipes that break and equipment that breaks. But with that being said, we're already on track to keeping the facility up because it is 25 or 30 years old and it's not going to last forever. We don't want to come to the town and say, hey, we need $50 million to build a new plant.
And that's the biggest worry.
Yeah, absolutely.
We just ate a $60 million school,
Yeah.
And you look and you say, okay, we don't want another big one.
Oh, and all the equipment down there runs pretty much all day, every day. It's got a great maintenance program. John does a great job. The guys do a phenomenal job on what they do. Repair work, like I said, maintenance, changing fluids. They're constantly doing something down there. So we try to stay in front of it. John knows what's ready to break. He's got a keen ear for that. So,
How many people are in the department?
There's 13 and a half. We've got a part-time janitor.
Rudy, they're making fun of you again.
I'm only a quarter.
I was going to say.
We got a part-time janitor that's down there,
So 13 people run the whole show.
yeah,
And most of the maintenance is done by them.
yeah. Pretty much, almost all of it.
Yeah,
Everything's done
I don't
in-house.
think people have a real appreciation for, if I go up to Ray's and my car pump, the water pump on my car goes bad, $200 and you growl.
Yeah,
When one of your pumps go down,
yep.
yeah.
you're talking tens of thousands of dollars just to repair them.
Yeah, we're looking at it.
Well, yeah, the big screw pump.
Yeah.
I remember that.
We're looking
beast.
at Field Pond, when we're rebuilding those motors, rebuilding them, and we just look at, in fact, it should be coming in pretty soon, and it's $19,000 for that.
To rebuild the motor.
It's for a new motor, we're getting a new one, so we'll have one sitting there. So they're like 15 years old now, and they've been rebuilt several times. And so their shaft's starting to get worn. We've done the bearings, done the shafts, but the shaft's starting to get really pitted and stuff, so it's got to be done over. So in order to do it over, it's going to take like 2-3 weeks to take that shaft.
You
and rebuild.
you
So
can't tell people, I'm sorry, you can't pee for
Right.
3 weeks.
And you just can't, and you can't leave that with one pump on that long of a time. So we end up having to buy a new motor, and then we'll keep one sitting there at all times, ready to go and have that. But it's, like I said, it's a $19,000.
Now, you put in a program years ago which was kind of an amnesty program. You know,
Yeah.
to say, okay, we know you're cheating the system. You got a lot of people, and we just assume it wasn't them that hooked their sump pump up to the sewer lines.
Yeah, it's not so much cheating the system, though. That's why we don't want it to think that. We're not worried about
Yeah.
cheating the system. It's worried about it's overloading the system.
Yeah,
And it's- and
I don't
that's-
think that everybody knows that they're actually.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter
Some
why.
people bought a house,
Right.
they don't have any idea where that water goes when the pump comes on, because it goes out and they don't have a problem. They flip the switch, the thing is on.
I think of all the things, how many bedrooms, what's the kitchen like? Nobody says, where's my sump pump hooked up?
No. They'll only worry about it when it doesn't work and there's water in the basement. But if it's working and it's going somewhere, they're not worried about where. I don't think anybody's out back looking to see where it's going.
As long as it goes away.
I think whoever hooked it up, they knew what they were doing. But if they've sold the house, which a lot of houses have changed hands, and some people have stuff under the floors, they may not know they were there either. But for the most
now,
part, I don't think people.
You made
know
a
it.
promise to the citizens of Milford, the residents of Milford, where you said, if you come clean, we won't hurt you.
Well, we've even come to people, we've even said to people, if you're not sure, let us go up and look at it. And some people have done that.
But there's no real risk, because whether I am
We win if you
tied
come forward.
correctly
Right.
or incorrectly,
Yep.
Everyone
if you
wins.
come in and
Yeah.
say, oh, that's not the way it should be,
Right.
it's not going to cost me any money
No.
as a homeowner.
No,
No.
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 We've done how many so far, 115?
115 we've done so far.
At no cost to the
homeowner.
residents.
No cost.
Yeah.
And
And they go in and they do the work. The guys are really quick. They usually do it in one day, connect it, take it out of your sewer line, connect it to the drain, or build a dry well, whatever they have to do if there's no drain available. And they'll do very minimal the lawn. We put
you
plywood
guys
down.
have even-
We put plywood down, put the dirt on the
Somebody
plywood.
told me you
so it's
guys
like a
chewed
truck.
up a bit of their lawn, you even fixed that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
do that. We seed,
They'll even
we
go
seed
back.
it and
Yeah,
do
they
everything
said they
before they leave.
seeded it, they
They
brought
even,
it-
they even go back if they notice that something, a couple of months later didn't.
didn't take.
Didn't
Yeah,
take or something
they'll
like
go
that.
back.
They go
It'll
back
get
and
restored
reseed it.
to where it was.
If not better.
And they go in the house and they do the work and, connect the sump pump from the sewer to the drain to where we put the new pipe into, and they'll put, cloths down, everything to make sure they do no damage to the house and everything else. So it's
So we've done
Very neat,
150
very-
homes,
115.
115. We haven't done any damage. Nobody's gotten zinged.
No.
Fundamental question, did it work?
Yeah, we actually could see a lot this summer with the dry spell that we've had. Usually the minimum flow we have was like around 3 million gallons, 3.5 when we first opened the treatment plant. Now, we made it down to almost like a week at a time, it was like 2.1 million gallons a day.
Well, I mean, that's a third.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's pretty substantial,
yeah,
John.
yeah.
And when you go there, you know that somebody's got a sump pump. They check to see how many times it's coming on when they're there. If they're there in the summer and it's not running as much, they don't really get a good reading. But if there's high water and they're watching how much, because the ones that are pumping the most, we try to put on the list first to get them out. Even if one of those houses is just doing 1,000 gallons a day and you've done 115,
Wait a minute, that's 300,000 gallons a year.
Yeah.
When 1,000 gallons a day,
oh, you're talking on one house. I'm talking about the 115,000 gallons a day that we're taking out of there. And I know it's more because the sump pump can pump way more than that. If it's going on twice a minute or once a minute, and it pumps,
but
30
these are
gallons
really
a minute.
significant numbers.
Yeah.
It can be, yes.
Yeah.
That's why the program is a win-win for us. It is for the homeowner also, but more for us. And again, our top priority is to make sure that whatever we do there is done perfectly. So the word gets around that this is a for-real program.
Tom, this feels like the Asylum Street problem where all of a sudden we got a transfer station and fewer refrigerators and televisions fell off the truck on Asylum Street. When you made it so that
Yeah.
Right.
it didn't hurt people.
Right.
I mean, people typically, we're lucky that people love Milford. They're here. They don't want to do the wrong thing, so if you give them a chance, they'll typically
and-
try.
Yeah, there's still a lot more out there. We keep trying to stress that it's a good program and it's good for everyone, the homeowner, I mean, how can you get, if you go to other towns and talk to them about no cost, and they just can't believe it.
Well, no, but I mean, I would think, if nothing else, even if I think I'm legitimate, having you come in and look at my sump pump and the connection, there's a benefit to me.
Yeah.
Because if you look and say, hey, right, wrong, or indifferent, that sump pump looks like she's gonna die pretty quick. I'd rather have you telling me up front, or hey, this connection's plugged, than find out when my basement is 8 inches deep in water.
Absolutely. And it's been a, some of these sump pumps aren't a $500 job. I mean, the most I think we've spent on one was around $8,000 or so. It's been 2, 3, 4. It has, some of the expenses are, it's not like you're gonna be in there, it's gonna be a $50 job. The other thing that we're doing is we work closely with the highway department, so when they're doing a resurface of a road and we have to do either stubbing the pipe off the road to the house or the resident for the stormwater drain, we're working with them. The guys will bring out flyers and bring them to the residents as they're doing it. Hey, we're getting ready to
Now
resurface
is
the
the
road.
time.
Now's
Yes,
the time.
That's what we find actually the best.
It's been working.
That's what we
Worked the
did up at
best.
the universities, you
Right.
went house to.
Right, correct, yeah. And that's where we usually find the best. We get the most people come forward then, saying, hey, now's the time to do it. The road's gonna be dug up. Let us take it and do it while it's being dug up, and not, later on, you might not be able to do this.
And in one instance, we had a resident that had pretty much pumping all year round. And we went up there to do some work, and the guys noticed that something, I believe, was not correct. And it ended up being a water service to his house was cracked and was actually giving him a lot of water in the basement.
Oh, my God.
So the water company repaired that, and I don't know how much he needs the sump pump now,
Yeah, hardly at all.
hardly at all. So he's gone from now, he doesn't have that electricity cost every month because there was a cause for him getting all that water. He just thought it was groundwater, but it really was his water service coming to the house, so.
But I had more worry that, as more and more people finish their basements, I mean, let's face it, the homes now,
Right.
the
Right.
price of homes, it's not cheap like when we were kids. A lot of people have to use that space. They maximize the use. So if you're building out your basement, I don't
Right.
really want to deal with, the mold and all the nasties that come with having half a dozen inches of water build up.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a good program.
So where's the next target? If one of the 6 people that watches the show lives in a section in Milford, where would you want the sensitivity to be? Is it still Field
Anything that
Pond?
drains
Is it-
to Field Pond was our target area. We know there, in that university area, there is a lot, because that flow jumps right up when it rains out. So
Yeah,
anywhere
College
in,
streets are still a huge area that we're targeting.
yeah.
So there's still a lot of improvement that needs done there.
Oh, yes.
You've done 115, but there's still a lot more.
There's still more. We know that there's more there, and it's just people aren't coming forward. So it's like I said, it's the hard part is getting the people to come forward, and we keep working at that. We're trying, we advertise it, we put it on our bills,
on
and
the
we send
bills.
our bill out.
Yeah.
When they do a road over, like I said, that is our best. We catch the most of them that. We're not catching, but people cooperate with us at that point, saying, okay, they're going to be digging it up anyway, so they say, oh yeah, we got a sump pump, can you come look at it?
It's been in the media multiple times, town crier, radio. So those publications have helped us try to get the word out there. It's just
You just gotta keep,
got to keep
That's
going.
right. You keep it going. It's
I
a
hate to
great
say
program.
groveling, but it's like, please let us help you.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, there's gotta be some resistance when anybody says, I'm from the government and I'm here to help you.
Absolutely. We understand.
Right away, my wallet starts cringing and.
You know what the thing is? And like these guys had said, the more that it's out there and neighbors talk to neighbors, sometimes that's how we've gotten a call.
Yeah.
Somebody said, hey, you just did my neighbor's house. They said what a great program it was. Can you come over in our house and look?
Yeah.
And that's how we've gotten multiples
Well, I mean, that
on the
would make
same
me
streets.
feel better. If Joe, my neighbor, says, I
Right.
did it, they actually did live up to what they said,
Yeah.
right? Oh, okay. I mean, you can say it all you want, but
That's right. And
the
we
credibility
understand- we
isn't the
understand that.
same as word of mouth.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we have letters, we have, down at the plant, thank you notes from people, so. I mean,
We've gotten
it's-
phone calls.
Yeah,
So the universities are always one of
Yeah.
the big target areas.
yeah.
Yeah.
Where else? I mean, because you know what you mean by it drains to Field Pond.
Yeah.
Nobody else knows. What do you mean it drains to Field Pond? You know,
Basically, anything, I'll say on the
Well, water tower back.
west side of Highland Street, correct, yeah, water tower back.
now again, west side, up. I mean, if you're going up Highland Street, you hit the water tower.
Anything to the left,
Yeah, anything
to the
above
left.
that water tower and to the
and then
left.
goes down, yep.
The ones on the right too also cause all the universities, they
Yeah.
do that, have a problem with it because they were built on clay and everything else. So, like you said, the cellars are being used now, so now they put the sump pumps in to keep their cellars dry. Before there was nothing in that building, they got cement, so they could just wash it down and clean it up. But now that they're
Right.
put apartments and everything in there, so they put a sump pump in, and what do? They connect it to the sewer rather than run one down the road and connect it to the drain. So that's the problem you have with it. That's what it is. Having them come forward is still the hard part. You know?
Right.
Another emotional topic, Hopkinton poop. There was all sorts of questions, threatened legal actions.
Yeah.
I mean, the world was going to end, things were going to happen. What's the status? Has it been a good program for us?
Yeah, I believe it has. It paid for the sewer going down Purchase Street that we had installed, so all those residents on Purchase Street, which was about 100 residents, got sewer. at
More residents, none in our area.
They got sewer down that, and they got, that was an old area of town, an old septic system. They had cesspools, most of them had cesspools, not septic systems in that area. So it did benefit to them, and we got that reimbursed from Hopkinton. And also, we probably get like about $120,000 a year on sewer use from them. They pay probably like $10,000 or $12,000 a month.
Any
And
downside
you
to
don't,
our
you don't,
services?
we don't see it as, it's not like a big bill coming to us, we have to pay more for this, more for that.
That's what I'm
You don't
saying.
even notice it.
It's part of the norm.
Part of the
There's
normal.
no downside to the Milford residents
No.
that you're taking in.
The original contract, they were trying to get 500,000 gallons. And because they're in what they call a different water basin, they're not taken from the Charles River, they're taken from the Assabet, they only allowed 206,000. We have not even come close to that number. It's been 100,000
100,000.
roughly. And now since the closing of Lonza, who was a huge user, it's dropped down. What are we,
It went down for a while, but then
60.
come back
It's come
up.
back up.
Come back
Some
up, it's in
EMC
the
stuff's being
100,000.
used up there, and as some more businesses develop up there. But it's come down a little bit. We're hoping it's going to go back up because it is, a generation of revenue for us that we can use again for maintenance. Or
Do they have a
sump pumps.
minimum that they pay, or do they
No.
just pay per gallon?
Per
gallon.
gallon. 3 times the amount of our rate, whatever our rate is.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
No.
So if our rates go up, theirs go up.
But, I think the most important thing is you tell me 100 families, Milford families, got a good benefit at
Yes.
no cost to Milford. So you're taking care of them, and there's no downside to the rest of the families in Milford.
No,
No.
So it has been a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
correct. Not everybody's taking advantage of this, tying into the system yet, as septic systems are failing.
Well, as I mentioned,
Yeah.
my little area, we're 24 years out, so now we're all becoming real sensitive to the average life of 20 to 30
Well,
years.
Some of them were 100 years old, so you're.
Yeah.
You're still doing pretty
From
good.
your ears to,
Well, if
From
you're-
your
if
mouth
you're
to God's
maintaining
ears.
it- If you're maintaining it, you're gonna get a long life out of a septic system.
maintaining it is just pumping it.
Oh, don't
and-
put any towels down in there and stuff like that.
I can't imagine. I mean, of all the things that, my blessed daughters would flush down,
Now,
and yes, you think of the torpedoes and all the other things that go down there, but a towel?
towels, silverware, everything.
I didn't believe it till I saw it myself.
That's got to be going down the sink. I can't imagine how many people take silverware into the bathroom.
Well, no, a lot of them get probably jammed into a garbage disposal or something and it goes out that way.
They're not gonna go through the gas, so most of it is for the toilets and stuff.
Yeah, just amazing.
Somebody's mad, they're gonna just get that thing down there.
God help us. You're talking about building a new building.
Correct.
Tell me about this.
That goes back to our sludge thickening facility that we spoke about. The size of the building is 20 by, was it 20 by 20, 20 by?
It was, but it's gotten bigger now because now
Okay.
they're gonna put the trucks underneath it so we don't
Okay.
have the problems with the fumes and stuff of it going out. We're gonna take and clean up the air on it. So right now we take and pump it out to the atmosphere.
Right.
The trucks are parked outside.
But it's basically one big room. You know, when you think of somebody's great room in their home, it's 20 by 20.
Right.
So if this is twice that size, it's like, it's not a real house or something.
It's gonna be a good-sized building because they're
building.
gonna have to drive that truck, that tanker, inside that, and that tank is gonna be inside. So when the fumes and stuff come out of that, we can remove those fumes and
Oh, okay.
clean them up and not put it into the atmosphere. So the neighboring neighbors won't have any odor problems with it.
Trying to cut down on it.
Trying to cut down on odors.
That would be nice.
Yeah. Cut down on that, and then we're also, there's tanks with the sludge thickener, where the sludge thickens goes into. We're gonna cover those up and try and remove that odor problems from that. So we're trying to work on the neighbors to make it a little bit more pleasant for the neighbors in the area. And
How far does the aroma go from the plant?
Depends on the day.
depends on the wind.
Depends
and
on the wind.
Well, I mean, it depends on, somebody has
So
thicker
if you
and
see
it
some
hangs.
neighborhoods buying big fans to blow it the other way.
Depends on the humidity too, I think, with the air.
There's a
and how
ball
thick
field
air
on the
is.
other side. I don't know how that gets it, but, depends on the air.
But it does affect, I mean, you're not talking a couple 100 feet here.
It goes quite a ways.
Quite a ways.
So,
Yeah.
when you start cutting down on the odors, you are helping a lot of different families.
Yeah.
Well, we're trying.
Like this dry spell that we had, a lot of the problems, the people call it for our problem, but there's a different odor, is the swamp was so dry and it was decaying itself that the Charles River itself.
Oh, just the normal decay of the weeds and everything?
else, yeah, with a dry summer like we had, it was like unbelievable, the odor that you would get if you walk down to the river. And the river, you
Somebody
look
says
at
it
it,
smells bad, it must be by Ninny's poop.
the river itself was dirty, and then after us, it was so much cleaner that there was no flow on that river, except for us after.
So now how do you finance the building?
The building cost is gonna be roughly 1.4 million. We're still working out all the numbers for the cost of the building. We have a rough, or a pretty close number on what the equipment's gonna be. That's about 800,000 almost, right?
So you got a couple million-ish.
Yeah.
So, million and a half. And again, we haven't completely explored how we're gonna do it, but again, taking the money like we're gonna transfer from the savings account that we had. Our subcommittee comes in, we discuss with our finance subcommittee the best way for us to fund our projects and with their recommendation, and the board discusses what we should do, and we're gonna do our best to keep the rates
I mean, I
low
would
and
think
keep
if
paying.
you're putting out 300-odd thousand a year, and you can knock that down from 3% to 6 in the percentage, 2 million sounds like a ton of money, which it is.
Yeah.
I always joke, I say, when they talk about $2 million, we were kids, you could have bought Milford, they would have thrown in Hopedale. I mean, there's significant money here. But at 300 thou a year, what's it gonna take you, 6, 8 years to pay it back?
And that's what the engineering firm had said,
Yeah.
within 7 years, and like
Okay.
Tom had said, plus or minus a few years, give it 10, it'll pay for itself, and we'll be able to save that extra money that we're not
And
spending
we're
on
also,
trucking.
we also have to upgrade the equipment that we have now to dry it out. That is getting old, so we're replacing that as part of the, we would have to replace that anyways, whether we build the building or not. So that cost is gonna be there.
So it's not a net 2 million, you'd have
No.
a
there's
certain amount
pumps
of
and
money.
stuff that have to be, everything's going on 28 years old. They've been running 28 years, 24/7.
And at $250,000 a pump, it doesn't take
Right.
too many of those.
Right.
It won't be those. Not in those, no.
No, but I mean, realistically, if you save a couple $100,000,
Right.
that you don't have to do maintenance because you're replacing it with new equipment,
Yeah.
Right.
that just even makes the return on investment a little shorter.
Absolutely.
So what are the big challenges coming up?
Field pond will be one.
Field pond, yeah. Field
Okay,
pond
that's
will be one.
continuous.
Yeah, that's a big one.
I mean, every year you've come in, that's always on the hit parade.
There's a lot of water that goes to that, and that's what we're trying to get out. If we could eliminate a lot of that water, our problems, the stress would be a little less, because when it rains out, we're always worried about what can happen there. So, and upgrading the pump station will help it immensely. But getting a lot of the water out of there will be, I think, is the best solution.
Here's
But,
a dumb
you know,
question. Is there any way that the town can help to say, you know, like now you've got the whole septic system issue, that before you can sell your home, it's got to be
Yeah.
tested.
we,
Is there any way of putting something in that says, when you're going to go sell your house, it's no charge, so we're not hurting you, you have to have your sump pump tested?
well, it's almost like what you have to do for, I went to and had some conversation with town council on this a few years back about, almost like when you sell your house, you have to have a fire detector checked out, and it would require an act of legislature.
So it's statewide, you can't do it on
yeah.
a town basis.
A lot of house inspectors now are realizing it in different, you know, it's not just a problem in Milford, it's a problem in all the towns. And when they do that, they look at their sub pumps and see where it goes to those house
Well, I
inspectors
think
that
maybe
they
we
have.
can get the banks to help because it's in their interest. They don't want, you know, some pumps failing. Maybe, you know, they can put on, like we do the radon checks, we do all these checks. Maybe we can beg them to, hey, can you add a sump pump check to your list?
I think, like Tom said, I think it would be quite a few years of red tape and
We
litigation.
had
and all
one
that
idea
stuff.
that I bounced around, and it's really far out there, was we thought about putting meters on the sewer lines going out of the house, which would be almost impossible to do. But if you had a meter on somebody's house and they're pumping you, 300,000 gallons, and you're billing them on that, they're going to come to you and they're going to say, hey, whoa, how come my sewer bill's so high? Well, you're sending us all this water. Well, how come? Well, let us in and we'll find out. And you would eliminate that problem.
Well, like
Obviously,
the guy with the cracked water
That's not
pipe.
what we're trying to do. We're not trying to police the system and, shake
No,
down
I mean, you've
people.
proven
We're
you're not trying to get money out of it.
Yeah, no, we're just trying to get the water out, and that's what it is. We're just trying to get people to realize it, any way we can, where they'll come forward and, and when they go to a house, they'll cross them off the list. Hey, we've been to that house. It's not that house. We've checked it. There's nothing wrong with it. And but we know houses that we haven't been into, or areas.
And we
that-
don't want to pick on the people, I mean, remember when Ridgewood first came in, that was the rich area. You're not trying to pick on
No, we're not.
the
We're not
universities,
anybody,
it's just, hey, guys, if you can,
Just, no.
let you in, and maybe this time the government really will help you.
Yeah, we have the equipment, we bought the equipment, we've paid for it, we have everything set up to do the job and do the job right. We just need more people to come forward and, make this
Well,
work out better.
As always, I'll wish you a boring year with no excitement. And to our 6 loyal viewers, hopefully one of you belongs up in the university area. We'll call the sewer department. Over and over, they've proven that they do come in, they do the work, it's at no cost, and it does help the town overall. So from all of us, thank you for what you do. May you have a boring year again. And as always, may God bless, and may tomorrow be a better day at the center of the universe than today. Good night, all. Thanks.
Thank you, Al.
Thank you.
Not too long since I've been home. Been running all my life just